Allô, Nissan? Hey, grosse tempête, hein?
Hey, Karine, oui, je sais, les vilains bonhommes de neige sont de retour.
Mais avec le Nissan Rogue à traction intégrale, c'est pas stressant.
Exact, il est conçu et testé pour nos hivers. Oh, Karine, il y a un bonhomme dans le Rogue.
Ah, c'est correct. J'ai allumé les sièges chauffants.
Ah, bien joué, Karine. Maîtrisez toutes les conditions. Louez le Rogue S 2026 à partir de 0,4% jusqu'à 36 mois, incluant une réduction fidélité de 0,5% pour les clients Nissan admissibles. Jusqu'au 2 mars, sur approbation de crédit, les conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
So, a story yesterday, we found out the city has decided to finally do something about orange cones. And when I say finally do something, obviously we've been talking about this for a long time. The question has always become, there's been a lot of talk, but there hasn't been a lot of actions, right? Well, this administration is apparently about to change that. They want to introduce an innovation zone using AI, and it covers a pretty big stretch, if I got this right, of downtown. So we're talking from Guy on the west end to St. Lawrence on the east end, and then between De La Commune and I believe Sherbrooke. Leslie Roberts is a city councilor for the downtown Peter McGill district. So this kind of falls right into his wheelhouse, and he's on the line. Leslie, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Aaron, are you going to miss those orange cones?
Very, very much.
Is that what you're telling me here?
Yeah, I'm saying I can't put them on my T-shirt next year, which is going to be a problem.
Right?
Yeah. But listen.
Your toque is sitting proudly in my City Hall office,
good.
by the way.
I'm happy to know that. Listen, how is this? I mean, obviously people hear this and they say, great, sounds good. But as I said, we've heard about, making things better, getting rid of orange cones for a long time now. Now, all of a sudden, AI in the mayor's announcements involved. How will that work?
I'll give you an example. When it's a construction downtown is a great example. And when the city sits down and says, okay, we're going to plan our construction projects, you've got basically 150 plans. So you've got everyone represented, whether it's the crews, the equipment, go through the list. And those 150 plans for all the various construction has a core group of crews and equipment that they can sort of apply to those projects accordingly. But right now, it's all managed in terms of humans. So some guy says, the truck that we're using at this part of Montreal isn't working, so we're going to have to substitute. What the AI will do is basically absorb all 150 plans and allow basically an overview so that there won't be the domino effect where you have to fill in here or it'll do it automatically for us. And it'll fast-track everything so that there are fewer mistakes because of the fact that the knowledge is all in there under one, and it's not one guy trying to talk to 40 different people to figure it out.
So, the issue has always been, this came up, of course, even in the last administration, we would ask, well, what about planning? And the idea was planning sort of didn't exist because you find out, you think there's construction going on and it's one group doing it, maybe the blue collars. And then you find out, no, Hydro had work, Gasmet had work. That's part of how this is going to work, to coordinate that?
You got it. Yeah, exactly. Well, and the other frustrating thing for a lot of people was in terms of phantom sites where you would walk down St. Catherine and see the equipment, but nobody there for weeks at a time. That'll be eliminated as well because the planning will be. The bottom line is that there were so many silos between the boroughs and the departments. Those are all now eliminated and centralized. And it's led, by the way, by Alex Teodorescu, who is our executive committee guy in charge of this. That's his background. He's an AI specialist, and he's in the Côte-de-Neige NDG borough, and he's on the executive committee on this file.
Yeah, which is good news, I guess, because we know Montreal's a bit of an AI hub here, right? We know there's a lot of people here, which gives us a chance to take advantage of that, I guess.
Yeah, and he's a product of this, and he is applying the knowledge he has learned. The stuff that we share with everybody else is now being used at home.
That's great. Listen, the one thing, I heard the mayor talk about, I think that might have been the quote, she said, we have to ask Quebec, or we've asked Quebec, to give us permission so that in the area there'd no longer be orange cones. Why do we have to ask for permission?
It's all about safety because I think it's a way in which to ensure that the citizens would understand that if they see the orange cone, that it is a construction zone. And if you don't have the orange cone, then the bottom line is we don't know what it could be possibly. It's got a bad reputation now, but originally it was all about alerting folks that there was something happening here. And in that vein, by the way, because the orange cones hopefully will get the go-ahead to be replaced, and that negative connotation will hopefully disappear as well. You'll see a much nicer presentation, if I can use that term, around construction sites. A European model that I think Soraya fell in love with in her travels around the world when she was a federal minister, and said, "Hey, look! This doesn't look like the eyesore or the negative construction site." So even just the approach of walking into a construction zone area. will not only be fast-tracked, but it'll be a better experience for whether you're a tourist or a local.
So fair to say just less disruptive elements, because those have been incredibly disruptive. Is that the idea?
There, you said it much better than
Okay.
I did.
Okay. So that's good news. The thing I always bring up, and I think I may have mentioned this at some point as well, is when you happen upon a site that just shows up and have not been warned, and I've never understood why an administration, and maybe AI will help do this, if you know the work is going to be done and when it's going to start, letting people know beforehand so you don't just come upon it that day. If you knew a week before that there was going to be work in an area, you could find another way to get where you're going.
We got to get you on the task force. It's part of the plan. They're looking at it and seeing how they can implement it. And then one more step is then we would share the information on the Montreal City app. Like you would Waze. You know how if you want to go somewhere and it tells you where the construction is? The Montreal app would give you, and I would imagine you'd be able to, I'm assuming at this point, put in your address. It would give you the map of the surrounding constructions, or if you put in an address downtown, it would tell you what to avoid. All of that is on the table. And this task force, and I'm excited because it's my district, is the pilot project to perfect it and then ultimately roll it out across the city.
So I guess I'm old school. I mean, you're right. You could put it on a Waze app, which is what people use now. But I'm just thinking, actually put a physical sign or a board of some kind, before something starts to say, hey, by the way, on such and such a date, this area will have work going on. Please, be advised. But that's old school, right? But people drive, and that's the thing they see first. So I'm just saying, maybe we could sort of, rejig the AI to recognize that probably still works. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm happy to help. The other thing I want to ask, there's an announcement. I know the mayor mentioned it this morning. Something the city is doing. I heard this come up a while ago. What is it? The NATO World Bank?
Yeah, so it's Defense and Security Bank. We're in the running along with Toronto, Ottawa, and Halifax, and I believe Vancouver. Bottom line is, this is a huge international bank, AAA. It would work with NATO countries that would require any kind of defense or security equipment, etc. It's to make sure that the financing is kosher, that the whole issue of what they're buying is acceptable, and it would just sort of be the gold standard of a country in NATO trying to get anything when it comes to defense. It's 3,500 jobs. Wow. We are, I think we're perfectly fit for this, and I got to tell you, Aaron, I don't have a lot of opportunity to spend some time with the power brokers in Montreal. It's called, as the mayor phrased it today, Montreal Inc. So we had the premier, we had the mayor, we had our executive committee president, and then we had all these 100 people who are internationally recognized and regarded as, Montreal business folks. And the people at the universities. I mean, we're a university city, number 2 in North America. And the feeling that I had about this is the world-class Montreal that I remember. And to be in that room and to see this and to see that, this drive of the mayor who's leading the charge, the support of the premier, this is the Montreal and the reason why I got into civic politics is because I see what we used to be, and I see it again in my view. And these are the kind of projects that Soraya has in her viewer ahead of her. And I think we need to realize the extent of how great this is going to be if we can lock this project in, and what it could also relate down the road. Yeah,
this idea of putting Montreal back on the international stage, right?
Yeah.
I understand Palais des Congrès, one of the things you might be looking at as well, right? Because it's maybe outgrowing it.
Yeah, they need their help. Yeah, that's part of it as well. Look, we've got a lot. I'll even take it back to local level. Do you remember Terrace Gate around the F1?
Yeah.
Where it's this year
on
we're
Peel
fast tracking.
Street?
Yeah, exactly. So where the firefighters shut it down on night 1 because there was 2 inches, all that bureaucracy and all that. The mayor has said, and it's my district and the guy responsible for downtown, we need to fast track. We got to make sure that the business owners, the restaurant owners, all those permits and terraces have to be fast tracked this year, and hopefully the goal is to make it next to nothing in terms of cost to apply for one and get it fast tracked for you.
That's some good news. By the way, at the same time, I want to help out that pizzeria guy on Stanley Street who is having such a tough time.
Yeah, John Danielle. Yeah,
have you spoken to him?
We're on it.
Oh, that's good.
You know the story, right?
One side of the street is, one side of the street isn't, right?
Yeah. The previous administration, when they put in the construction zone, they put the line right down the middle of the street, and yet businesses on both sides are affected exactly the same. It makes no sense. So we've asked the services of the city to include them in the zone and the other businesses next to them as well. So that's going to take a couple of weeks, but we're on it.
Leslie, always appreciate when you give us some time. Look forward to this. We'll chat again. Thanks so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Take good care.
Thanks,
Leslie Roberts, City Councilor. His is the district, Peter McGill downtown, that's going to benefit from this AI infrastructure. We'll see how that goes. But you know the old story, something is better than nothing. Up until now, there's not been much to try to fix this cone situation. So fingers crossed.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.